Good morning and good afternoon to all our attendees. Welcome to our masterclass. This is our 36th masterclass in our series. The topic for today's masterclass is digital assistance for hire. And we have with us our strategic advisor and subject matter expert, John Salick, to take us through the session. John, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Akshay. And I know I say this every webinar, but we've got a good topic today, digital assistance. So we'll start off with an introduction and raise the assertion that technology can be part of the solution to a human resources challenge. And we'll talk about that as a solution to staffing challenges. And we'll get into a little bit more exactly what are digital assistants, define it, explain it, talk a little bit about intelligent document processing a little deeper. And then we'll look at how digital assistants can fill some very common roles within the accounting and finance operations. And by doing so, perform a lot of the repetitive, boring grunt work, to be frank, and enable the human team members to do more enriched, challenging, analytical work. And we'll cover that in 5 different sub-processes, which I think will certainly illustrate the point pretty well. We'll share with you a customer success story, wrap it up with a conclusion, and then answer any questions you might have. All right, so let's kind of set the table here a little bit. The Great Resignation. You've all heard about it, probably all experienced it. Significant turnover in staff. I think resignations have been running between 4 and 5 million a month for most of the last year, and this is an employment base of about 140 million, 2 to 3%. So, any given month, 2 or 3% isn't that much, but 2 or 3% per month for a year adds up to a pretty high figure. So it's certainly very real, very substantial, and something that most companies have to deal with. So retaining workers and replacing them is a major challenge. In fact, Protiviti did a survey of a good number of C-suite executives, and the conclusion was staff turnover was cited as the second most serious business risk for this year. Just to give you a little background, wages increased almost 5% for the Department of Labor in the last year, and has been publicized quite well. Inflation is in that 7.5% range. So still an issue, and still a threat that employees may leave, take another job as a way to get a extraordinary salary and wage increase, which will help them catch up and maybe even get a little bit ahead of inflation. So very real problem. And what are the major challenges posed by the Great Resignation? Well, 1 is retaining staff. 2 is attracting replacement staff or attracting staff for growth. And 3rd is controlling compensation costs. Salaries are going up 5, 6, 7% a year. Certainly the fringe benefits that most employers provide are also tied somewhat to the salary levels. It's a significant cost increase, especially coming off a number of years of low inflation. So what can meet this challenge? What are some of the solutions? Well, clearly a number of them are in the human resources department. But surprisingly, and kind of our thesis here, is that technology, specifically process technology, can also play a major role as a solution to the Great Resignation. And let's go a little deeper into that. How can technology mitigate the impact of the Great Resignation? Well, first of all, it can increase employee retention by reducing repetitive, what I call grunt work. Just keep punching, kind of mindless work. And also by facilitating work from home. The new technologies all facilitate work from home, work remotely, which is very popular with employees, and more than popular, it's becoming a condition for employees to accept the job. And even now, as the COVID pandemic, the rates of infection, et cetera, are starting to drop. Things are changing. People are going to restaurants. Yeah, but they're not going to their offices as readily. So, boom, work from home, eliminate grunt work. All of a sudden, some of your clerical jobs become more attractive, not only for your incumbent staff, but also when you need to hire somebody. Hey, look at this job. Pretty good. You got a digital assistant doing the grunt work for you. You can work from home, and the content of this job is more enriched. It's higher level work, maybe some analytic, dealing with particularly difficult customers or just big customers. So it decreases attrition, makes the jobs more attractive to new hires, and it also delivers productivity gains. So when we talk about compensation increases of 5, 6, 7, 8% in a year, that's pretty stiff. How can we control that a little bit? Well, the answer is fewer employees. I mean, there's really no other way to say it, pretty blunt. And the technology we're going to describe delivers the productivity increases to enable reduction in workforce. And what is this technology? Well, it's names and terms you've heard a lot about. Artificial intelligence, digital assistants, hopefully you've heard that term. Performing intelligent document processing with its acronym IDP, which can automate 70 to 90% of operations that are fully manual. I mean, that's quite a bit. And they also improve accuracy, speed, and the response to the customer. So this technology as a human resource, as a solution to a human resource challenge is very real and can make a big contribution. All right. Let's go a little deeper now. What are digital assistants, also known as AI-powered digital assistants? Well, they emulate human beings in a lot of operations. Chief one is performing intelligent document processing, which is extracting data from documents where that information is in an unstructured format. It extracts the data, puts it into a file, a structured data file, which is a requirement for further downstream processing, particularly automated downstream processing. So it sets the table. And that downstream processing can be through your ERP, can be through various bots that have been installed, etc. Gartner's estimate recently was that 80% of an organization's data is contained in unstructured documents. So 80% is unfit in the format in which it's received for easy automation. And IDP takes that unstructured data and puts it in a structured format. The digital assistants, not subject to human errors. They learn as they go. They get better as time goes on. And they also engage and assist customers around the clock. Now, we're not going to necessarily get into that in any detail today, but you get those customers want to pay an invoice, an hour and a half before the Super Bowl. Well, digital assistant can assist them and walk them through how to on your customer care portal and make a payment in the format they desire. So a lot of value here to digital assistants. And how do they do it? Well, here again, a lot of recently emerging technology that you've heard about: artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, natural language processing. And then the last one, enterprise information processing, basically just means it integrates well with your ERP system, which is critical because that's your system of record, single source of the truth, and need to run things through it. So very handy to have digital assistants. Let's just go a little deeper into intelligent document processing, because that's where digital assistants make their biggest contribution towards making a job more enriched and more attractive by taking care of the repetitive key punch data entry type tasks. And as we said before, key functions are: it extracts data from unstructured doc and converts it into a structured data file, usually a CSV file, and sets the table for the next step in automated processing. It extracts all the data that's required, and only the required data. So it's not extracting page numbers and stuff like that, only the required data. The source documents, these documents that contain 80% of the unstructured data that comes into an organization. Those documents are scanned, data is extracted, documents are stored digitally, and are available if anybody wants to view that source document, anywhere in the world, 24/7, 365. And certainly cognitive AI data extraction, which is what IDP uses, as it learns and gains some experience, so to speak, faster, cheaper, and more accurate. Even RPA, robotic process automation, doesn't work as well with a wide variety of documents and formats. RPA is good for handling kind of high volumes of the same documents performing the same operation just over and over and over and over. So, and the other thing about IDP, very helpful, is that it accommodates multiple languages and multiple currencies, which is great. All right. This next section here, I've constructed a facsimile of what a WANA ad may look like with a job description. And the purpose is to illustrate what a digital assistant can do. So the duties in these job descriptions can all be done by a digital assistant. There are additional duties that require human touch, no question. But the purpose of these job descriptions is to illustrate how much of a function a digital assistant can perform. And also, I think it illustrates that the functions a digital assistant performs is probably among the least fun, least interesting of a wide range of job duties. So if we look at a credit control analyst, what can a digital assistant do? Well, we can get the online credit app from the customer, make sure it's complete, obtain all the information needed to do a credit investigation. Bank trade references, get your report from Experian or Dun & Bradstreet or whatever, verify information, business licenses, sales and use tax. And then you can design it to analyze the inputs and perform credit scoring with the parameters and weightings that you choose. And then I can even go a little further. and calculate a recommended credit limit. Again, with the parameters and weightings that you've input. So, customer that needs to buy $50,000 a month with their on net 30-day terms, given their credit rating, the digital assistant recommends a credit limit of $70,000 and can route that to whoever needs to approve it. So, you can do a lot of work to keep the credit process going. Now, at the bottom here, I put a little illustration here. Must work 24/7, 365 with no breaks, no vacation, and no compensation. So who's going to take that job? The answer is a digital assistant. And by having a digital assistant work with your credit control team and taking these tasks over, what do the human beings in the department do? Well, they tackle the real tough credit risks. Your big customers who are financially weaker, updating credit limits, and really monitoring the high-risk situations, which is a higher level job. Similarly, we look at collections. All right, who can fill this job? Email collection inquiries, engage in interactive dialogue, trying to secure a promise to pay or a payment. If the customer says, yeah, all right, I'll pay, assist them on your customer care portal to make a payment in the format they prefer. Enter promises to pay in your collections tool, follow up on those promises to pay. And what's really nice, is they can communicate with 100% of their assigned accounts. Now, we all know collectors always have trouble, if they have a balanced portfolio of major accounts, medium accounts, and small accounts. Always have trouble getting to those smaller and medium accounts. And digital assistants don't have that problem. They cover everybody. So again, same work conditions, 24/7, no compensation. Who's going to take that job? Digital assistant, which at Maja, their digital assistant is named Geo. If you are wondering when looking at that picture in the upper right-hand corner. Cash App, similar themes here. What can the digital assistant do? Extract the remittance detail, right? Intelligent document process. And we know it comes in all different ways. Paper remittance advice. You have to go to the customer vendor portal to get it. Retrieve it from your own customer care portal. Comes in on an EDI 820 or BI. Customer sent files in Excel. You can get it from bank lock boxes, digital payment transition, just a big variety of formats, many of which are unstructured or have elements that are unstructured. So extract that, apply it to the open invoices, clear the small balances, nuisance balances. And if there's credit memos on the account, apply that to the open invoices. And, if you have a policy in your Cash App, the standard is applying 100% of the cash received the day it's received. Well, digital assistant can really help you do that. So again, who's going to take this job, a digital assistant, and what are the human members of the Cash App team going to do? Well, they're going to work on those big accounts that have lots of open transactions, not just invoices, but short payments, unapplied credit memos, chargebacks, debit memos, all that flotsam and jetsam that accumulates on a major accounts statement. That's what they can do. And meanwhile, the digital assistant is kind of keeping the railroad running as far as the Cash App. Similar with deductions. If you're a company that gets a high volume of deductions, remember, most of them are correct or valid deductions. So you don't want to spend a lot of time researching, resolving Deductions just to issue a credit memo. You need to get it done fast and in volume. Well, the digital assistant does that by assigning reason codes, assembling the backup information, routing it to the designated resolvers, processing a credit memo, which is merited 95% of the time. And then if it's an invalid deduction, routing that deduction along with the supporting documentation to the assigned collector. Again, 24/7, 365. Who's going to take this job? A digital assistant can do it. And what can the human members of the deductions resolution team do? Well, tackle the real tough deductions, tackle the large value deductions, and focus on those customers that take the most deductions, and not only resolve those deductions, but look for ways, work with them to reduce the number of deductions they take. So for the humans, it's a higher level job, as I said with the others too. Last one I want to look at is accounts payable. We've been looking at the receivable side. Let's look at payables. But again, similar pattern here. What can a digital assistant do in payables? Extract the key data from a vendor invoice, IDP, vendor name, invoice date, PO number, et cetera, extract it and input it into your AP system, confirm receipt of goods, and compare the vendor invoice to your PO. So it's the three-way match, right? Vendor invoice, receiving document, consistency with your PO. Set it up for payment. If there's an exception, route it to a human being for resolution. Can plow through and process the vast majority of vendor invoices. And here again, the human members of the payables team handle the exceptions, and over time they start to focus on the high volume exception producers among your vendors. That we got a problem with every invoice you ever sent us. I mean, here's the most frequent errors. Can you correct these, please? And that's what the human beings do, and they work with purchasing and a more interesting job. So we looked at 5 roles where a digital assistant can come in and do exactly what we talked about. Enrich the job by automating the repetitive, routine data extraction and key punch duties. Oh, here's a quick customer success story. Again, a global company, so the ability to handle multiple currencies and languages was a big help, obviously. They employ digital assistants in deductions, cash app collections, and also in their analytics function. And at the end of the day, in addition to the productivity, they saw a nice improvement in results. Deduction cycle time down to 5 days, which is quick. Auto cash hit rate up to 80%, which when you're in a global arena dealing with multiple different banking systems, currencies, etc., 80% hit rate's pretty good, and contributed to a nice drop in DSO. So, it's probably been obvious as we've talked about this, but let's just recap the benefits of a process that's enhanced with digital assistance. Well, the first thing, you get dramatically increased productivity and morale. Remember, we said that at the beginning. We want to strip out the dull, repetitive, boring, annoying data extraction and input tasks, and try to enrich the job, make it a little more interesting. And then, of course, it also drives results. Aging of AR, DSO, better response to customers, and overall increased accuracy and quality of operations. All that stuff, you see the line at the bottom, the sequence at the bottom. You're improving customer sat, you're improving the operations. Ultimately, that's going to contribute to higher sales and higher profits. So what's our conclusion here today? on AI-powered digital assistants. A lot of benefits, right? You know, some of you might have been a little skeptical when I said, well, technology can help solve a human resource problem. Well, I think demonstrated how that's possible. And the digital assistants, they're in use today. And they enable the job enrichment and work from home. Two big features that make your jobs more attractive. Increase productivity, faster response, improve accuracy as well. So, you know, the folks at Amaja are so enthusiastic about digital assistants and how they can help that they really are making an offer here to help you get started in a small way. Pick one process, one sub-process. Try a digital assistant, whether it's payables, cash app, deductions, credit, you know, pick one of these processes. Work with Amaja to install a digital assistant and see how it goes. And, you know, the pricing can be as low as $50 a month. So here's the contact information. It's worth checking out. So I encourage you to take a look at that. All right. Hope I didn't go too fast. We had a fair amount of material to cover, but certainly would pause now for any questions.
Right. Thanks, John, for those interesting insights. Let me ask you the first question. How can technology mitigate a human resource problem, whether be it staff turnover or replacements?
Yeah. And that's kind of, I think, the first question people had at the very beginning of this webinar. Again, by enriching the job through elimination of grunt work and by enabling work from home. I mean, those are two big features that employees look for.
Thank you. My next question is, what is the major benefit of intelligent document processing?
Biggest benefit is converting the 80% of unstructured data that resides within an organization, converting it into a structured format, which tees it up for automation in either your ERP or with bots or whatever. It starts a chain reaction downstream that increases speed, productivity, and accuracy. I mean, that's probably the biggest benefit.
Right, and let's go with our last question that we have here. Are there any other benefits for using digital assistants?
Well, certainly cost, right? I mean, it replaces compensation cost after you make the initial investment. And, you know, the accuracy kind of permeates the operations, improves the quality of the operations. And ultimately, this all leads to better service to your customers. You know, accurate service, faster service. Over time, your reputation as a supplier will improve with your customers as they see your capabilities improve.
All right. Thank you very much, John. I think we are also on top of the hour over here now. I think we had a very good session. Thanks a lot for that. And would also like to thank the audience for being there with us for all these sessions. And 2 weeks from now, we are going to be having our 37th masterclass session. And the topic for it is how to increase AR and AP efficiency with intelligent document processing. That'll be on March 3rd at 8 a.m. Pacific. We all look forward to you. In the meanwhile, if you do have any other questions, do reach out to us at info@imagia.com. Looking forward to seeing you all on March 3rd. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, John.
My pleasure. Thank you. And we do encourage the questions, folks, so please don't hesitate. So long now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.